Hit the drum line somewhere.
Okay, welcome everyone. So this is our kickoff to the University Avenue Corridor Plan. So we haven't started anything yet, so you guys are the first ones here to get kind of gauge what we do and everything. So I guess we can start with introductions first.
Yeah, we could do that. Sure. Just a real quick. As we go today, it's going to be just interactive. Everyone, if you have something that you want to share with the group, feel free to just chime in. It's nothing formal, no formal presentation. Let's make this more interactive. Those that are going to go along on the corridor tour as well, let's have discussion. That's why we're here for, just to get that in there. And so hopefully in the next little bit we get to know you a little bit more, and we have a slide here just for introductions. But yeah, just a real kickoff. This is for the University Avenue Corridor Plan. As Daphne had mentioned, we are just getting started. So this is the kickoff meeting. We had a pre-kickoff meeting to kind of organize the schedule. It has changed just a little bit since the proposals were in place. And so we'll go over that as part of the presentation as well. Our agenda we'll cover here in just a minute, and there should be copies that you have. If you haven't picked them up at the back table, Derek can make sure you get a copy. Otherwise, we'll talk through each of these items as we go. Meeting logistics. Again, this is for more those on the phone, but if you are going to add some comments for those, this isn't a hybrid format. We have a lot of you, or the majority of you in the room, but there are a few online as well. And so I will pause at a couple different points here to allow those that are participating virtually to provide their input as well. Directions on how to do that is just hit *6 on your phone to unmute and *9 to raise your hand, and I'll be checking in on that. And Stephanie online can hopefully help me with that as well. So the introductions. Why don't we start over with you, Daphne, and hit it from the City of Middleton side first?
Sure, yeah. So I'm Daphne. I'm going to be, the project manager for the University Avenue Corridor Plan. So if you have any questions, comments, whatever, feel free to contact me at the city for that. And then I guess you can go ahead, Paul, and then we can go around the room just to see who's here and what your interest is with University Avenue.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Daphne. Paul Chulavold, I'm with SRF Consulting Group. I will serve as the project manager for this study. And maybe right away with me is Derek Hungnes. Derek?
So, with SRF Consulting Group, we have our offices in Milton Hills up in the area. I'm just over here. I'm what we call the principal in charge of the project. So, I've been living in the city of Milton for over 20 years now. I've served on the Plan Commission and Public Works Committee, so I'm really happy to be here.
Excellent. And maybe Steph, just to finish off the SRF team that's in attendance. Steph, she's participating virtually, but go ahead, Steph.
Thanks, Paul. My name is Stephanie Falkers, and I'm another planner with SRF, and my role for this project will be assisting with public engagement. So excited to get this process started.
Excellent. You want to start over here?
I'm Adrienne Halbert-Stroud. We've lived in Middleton for almost 9 years now, over by Stock Trail Elementary, and I am the owner of the former Common Ground Middleton.
And I'm Kathy Olson. I'm the alder for District 1, which is the downtown, goes out as far as like the golf course.
My name is Jim Lindley. I've lived here for 68 years, and I live at 2012 Park Lawn Place, one house off University Avenue.
Jenny Lindley. We've lived in our house since 1978, and we're real concerned about that intersection of Park Lawn Place and University Avenue.
Jim Schutz, lived in Middleton 45 years on North Avenue, member of the Pedestrian, Bicycle, and Transit Committee.
I'm Randy Bruce. I'm a member of the Plan Commission and on the Ad Hoc Committee. Been a resident for almost 30 years, and retired architect in town.
You retired?
I am retired.
Jeff Dunn. Dunn's Import. I've had my shop on the avenue for 43 years. Lived in town for 30 years. I love Littleton, that's why I'm here.
I'm Mike Slavish. I'm also, like Randy, on the Planning Commission. Live just down the street here on Hubbard Avenue. We are also a property owner on University Avenue. We were the developer for the Kestro, which is the affordable housing project across from the Oyster Co-op.
I'm Abby Atune. I'm the planning director for the city of Middleton, and I'm very excited about this project, especially because we are in the process of rewriting our zoning ordinance at the same time. So I think these two projects will go hand in hand and coordinate well together.
I'm Sophia Johansson. I'm the sustainability intern, and I'm just excited to learn about all of your stuff.
Mark Opitz, city planner, zoning administrator. I'm overseeing the zoning ordinance rewrite project that Abby just mentioned. And apparently I have two peers here, Randy and Jeff. You said 30 years that you've lived here, almost 30 years. I have 30 years next month, so we're going to have to have some sort of a celebration, obviously. Love Middleton. I've lived here, like I said, that whole time, and have been involved with the city for 22 years, well, more than 22 years. I'm Scott Peacock. Been here a little bit less time. I'm the planning intern.
I'm Katie Nelson. I'm the alder for District 3, which is part of the corridor. I have had a business on the University Avenue corridor. I've lived here for 16 years.
Fantastic. Everyone's got a chance to, I hope, have introduced themselves. I don't think I missed anybody else online. But as we kind of went through and did introductions, you see we come from a lot of different diverse backgrounds, a lot of people that have lived in Middleton for almost 70 years, some that have been here and are a little bit, traveling it day to day or involved in it in some capacity. So there's going to be a lot of different perspectives, how you use the corridor, if you live on it, you own property on it, or you're just traveling along it. There's going to be a lot of things that this corridor plan, this vision plan kind of gets into. And I've asked Daphne to take it from the city perspective. As they developed the RFP for this project, a lot of those similar ongoing events, as we mentioned, the zoning rewrite, recently coming off the comprehensive plan updates, about just kind of some of the things that you were looking for as you looked at doing this study.
Right, yeah, so obviously, we invited a lot of you guys here because, you have an invested interest in University Avenue. And, this plan obviously can, be a really big change for University Avenue. Obviously, it's not going to happen, right when we adopt this plan. It's not going to be like boom, boom, boom. We're going to, bust out all these things. It's going to be more so, as a property redevelops or as, our streets crew are, fixing streets along the way, things are going to be basically based off of this plan. Our plan commission, when a property redevelops, they're going to look at what does the University Avenue corridor plan say? Does it fit? If it doesn't fit, then we won't go ahead with the project, and so on and so forth. So a lot of the things that, we're looking for is, I skipped ahead. But basically, why are we developing this plan? I think a lot of you guys noticed, there's a lot of traffic along University Avenue, and there are a lot of businesses, but also a lot of turnover in businesses. And so, there's definitely a lot of changes coming, and it has been happening on University Avenue. So we would like to have, a plan in place in order for, us to be able to regulate the changes a little bit, maybe make it a little bit, nicer to travel along University Avenue corridor. And then also because of the pandemic, we've seen a lot of changes. We've seen a lot of people commuting through, biking or walking along, or not along the corridor, and they use, Elmwood or they use Franklin. And so they take the other routes instead of using University Avenue, but they're, still trying to go through the corridor itself. So there are a lot of these changes that we would like to incorporate in the plan to make University Avenue, a more enjoyable place to be instead of just a place that, people try and get through as fast as possible. So the type of input first is obviously transportation. It is a corridor plan, so we're looking for, how do we manage traffic, parking, transit options, and, bicycle and pedestrian safety, because it's not only, people going along, but, I cross University Avenue all the time to get up to the Conservancy, to Lakeview Park, all these people are crossing, and then other people are coming down to downtown. You have to cross University Avenue in order to do all of that. So we're looking at, safety improvements at, these intersections, and then we're looking at land use, because, the reason people are going through University Avenue is to get to these certain spots, right, like downtown, or even further into the business park, or down to Madison. So, what kind of land uses would you guys like to see more in, along University Avenue, maybe what you wouldn't like to see? Those are some things that we are interested in learning about. And then finally, design guidelines, right? Like, when we go down the corridor, what would you like to see? Would you like to see, more protected bike lanes? What do the buildings look like? Should they be like kind of dumpy, like kind of how they are right now, or should we, do a little, make it look a little nicer, so people want to be like, oh, this is a really cool place, this is Middleton. It's not just, anywhere USA kind of thing. So those are the kind of things we're looking for.
Perfect. Yeah, and I think some of the key terms, just to remember, it's a vision plan, right? It's going to be something that sets the guiding document for the next 10 or 15 years. What we can do incrementally, knowing that it's not all of the ideas that we generate through the input of you guys today, the residents, all of the surveys that we are going to take part in, all the public engagement events that we do. It's great to have 1,000 ideas, but not everything is going to come through. All 1,000 of those are going to come through, and if they do, it's going to be over a really long period of time. And as things, as Daphne talked about, land redevelops or any of those changes are made, that's an appropriate time to address that parcel and make some potential changes. I think the other last piece I want to make sure I hit up on this slide is that, we are very early in the process, and we want this to be about the residents, and we want this was something that came up very soon. It's the residents plan, it's the city guidance document. We don't want it to come from a consultant that's, has all these grandiose ideas. We want all the input. We're going to listen to all the input that's collected at multiple stages of this process. And myself and staff will go through a little bit about how we're going to collect that data, how we're going to use it, and then how it's going to eventually come through the help of our ad hoc committees, virtual open houses, to create the draft plans. Again, another chance for residents to look through that plan, and then before we actually go to the Planning Commission and ask for approval and adoption of those documents, having all those steps take place. So I'll just pause right there. We went through a lot. Is there any questions that have generated so far as we started? Steph, anything that I may have missed or we want to touch on a little bit more online?
Nope, I think you're good.
So we talked about the role of the ad hoc committee, and as we went through introductions, a few of you are participants and actually selected to be on that committee. And thank you for volunteering your time and to do this. I wanted to outline that role of the ad hoc committee on how we will use this group as part of the process and what their roles will be. So again, we talked about this before, but it's a mix of diverse opinions and backgrounds. We wanted to make sure we didn't take too many people from the right side or the left side or the top side or the bottom side. We wanted to sprinkle a lot of different ideas and generate a lot of different ideas that we can kind of throw all those into a funnel, and at the end of the process, have those great ideas generate through to the ones that are going to be used in the plan. Those involved in the ad hoc committee, it's a 6 or 7 month commitment, and we are going to use you through all the project phases. So starting today and being able to do this kickoff, hopefully you can join us for the corridor walking tour as well. We want to generate, right now we're in that existing conditions and data collection stage. So we want to hear what's working, what's not working, what needs to be improved. Those types of things are going to be very, very important things that we will develop a summary at the end of this meeting today and kind of say, this is what I think we heard through the input of those that were able to give their ideas here as part of the kickoff, or that you saw as part of the, when you were in the field. And we put together a guiding document here, and it's just a two-pager, and it's just to help you kind of as you go through. If you can't go on the corridor walking tour, take a chance, look through this at your own time, and turn these back in, because you'll be a part of then our existing condition summary here as part of today. But we wanted to basically set a question for you right off the bat of like, what do you think the corridor is? You have your perception right now of what you think that corridor is. Again, the limits from Parmenter to Allen, two distinct corridors really. You have a very residential side on the west, and then you transition to, quickly, to a more commercial use, some redevelopment going on, of course, generates a lot of traffic, 22,000 cars per day, on the west side here for sure. And then there's, the idea and the vision about, making this multimodal, right? You hear about the Madison DRT project, you hear about people wanting to walk places and bike places, and it's family friendly and, improve the aesthetics on the corridor. All of these are fair game, but kind of what do you really envision, or what do you see in this corridor today? What are you comfortable with the existing modes of transportation that you're, if you were to travel that corridor now? And then we'll get onto the corridor tour itself, and you'll be able to open up the packet. There's 3 panels that you'll be able to, we generated some of those ideas that Daphne was talking about kind of what's fair game. What are we looking for from comments for you? And the answer is anything you want. You can generate anything, and if we'll try to find buckets for them. If they don't have buckets, it'll be in the public record for, I did say this 10 years ago as part of this process. This was generated my idea. We will keep a log of all the comments that are received. We will put them into those panels like we talked about before, whether it's transportation or land use or design guidelines. Some of the things, just examples, as you walk the corridor or thinking through the corridor, the bicycle and pedestrian safety aspects, crosswalks, are there enough bike lanes, the sidewalks, how are cars moving in and out of the parking lots, and how are they accessing on and into University Ave or the side streets. Opportunities for infill and redevelopment. I think you'll see a lot of opportunity on the corridor as you walk it. Some of that is already happening and going up already, and some facelifts of buildings are happening. The aesthetics and public art, right? We talk about a gateway into the community, especially on that US 12 corridor. As you come in past Roman Candle Pizza, and you're going down University Avenue, what are you thinking? How about the other side? And, you're coming from the city of Madison, as you get to the M over there by Allen Boulevard. How does that look for you? Is that working? Do we need to do more along other sides of the corridor as well? And then, consistent with our zoning, we want to hear also kind of commingle those comments that you get for building setbacks, building facades. What's the look and the feel? What kind of codes do we need to be looking for? Do we want to bring the buildings right up to the side of the street? Do we want to be able to pull them back a little bit? Do we want to have parking in the rear facing? Do we want to eliminate, God forbid I say that word, but do we want to reduce the number of parking stalls? Do we want in order for something else? Those are kind of comments that we're looking for. Yeah. And at the end, we want to come back and say, hey, whoa, now that I saw it, now that I walked this, did my perception change? It may not have. You might have, Jeff, you've been on here every day. You know what it looks like? Yep, you probably can go through it in your head and just go, yep, this is what I think of it. It doesn't change. That's fair. That's fine. But maybe you noticed something out there on your walk today that's it different than what you're thinking. We'd like to hear those ideas. So again, with the ad hoc committee, just kind of finishing this one up, and sorry to jump around there a little bit, but this committee is going to be our first set of eyes. Those are going to be, okay, this is what I think I heard. Here's the summary. Does this look and feel like what you were doing in your group on the walking tour, or what you did in this group in your walking tour? Were those comments consistent? Did we encapsulate everything that we wanted to identify in the plan? We talk about, once we do get to the draft stages of the plan, you guys, the ad hoc committee will be that first set of eyes. Again, did we do a good job in really bringing out the comments that were given to us through the community survey, through the Good Neighbor Festival, through virtual open houses, through all those rounds of public engagement? Are we going down the right path and the deliverable that will be the final plan? Make some comments and changes on that. And then obviously to provide your input on the key project decisions throughout the project. So I'll touch on public engagement and then kick it over a little bit more in depth to Steph, if you're okay with that, Steph.
Yep.
We put together a public participation plan. Now this document I'll get into in just a little bit on the schedule about all the different types of public engagement we're doing. But the point of it is we're trying to reach out into many different platforms. We're trying to get to reach the social piece of this, the equity piece of this, and make sure all residents can provide feedback, not just if they can attend the meeting today and it works in their schedule. But you'll see as we walk through these community surveys, these opportunities for hearing about engagement are going to stay open for a really long time. We have to draw the line in the sand eventually and kind of start putting pen to paper so that we can develop that plan. But if you missed a day or you missed a week because you were on vacation, you'll still have ample opportunity to provide your feedback. And we will do everything we can through QR codes, through messaging, through however we can with the City of Middleton social media outlets to advertise that, hey, this QR code, as you're walking down the corridor on a Tuesday, scan it, it takes you to the survey. Oh, I didn't even know this was going on. We'll really want to do our best to outreach and get all these participation, all these different modes of participation. And then again, the business focus groups, that's going to be a little bit dependent on what we get from feedback. So we will reach out with City of Middleton staff. We will say, well, where do we need to spend some time and take deeper dives into the data? Where are we getting the data from? What are we missing? And kind of hitting on that end. The Good Neighbor Festival is a perfect option to go to where the residents are. I'll let Stephanie talk a little bit about what a pop-up event such as the Good Neighbor Festival is. And then we will do a virtual open house, and then I will also let Stephanie cover what we're thinking with an intercept survey as well. So Steph, if you could just chime in first on that, on the fourth bullet there, the Good Neighbor Festival and a pop-up event, and then kind of take us through the last 3 bullets on there.
Yep, I can do that. And I just want to pause and make sure. I think I'm on a phone in the room, so just want to make sure that my volume is okay and everybody can hear me.
It's a little quiet.
Yeah,
Nice to be loud.
you're just a little quiet, Steph, but we'll try to turn up our volume, but hold that microphone close and keep it back.
Okay, I'll try to talk as loud as I can. But I think before I jump into those the last 3 bullets there, I just want to reemphasize the importance of engagement through any process and making sure that we're building off of the successes that you had with the comprehensive plan. And really, we find that making sure that we can get as many voices to be part of the process is going to help us build consensus. So when it comes to making decisions moving forward, that people were a part of this process and support the results of the corridor plan. But to jump in a little bit deeper on those last 3 bullets, the Good Neighbor Festival is a great opportunity for us to engage with people who may not have heard about the process or just inform them that what's going on. And we're going out where people already are. So that's why we call it a pop-up event. So the intent there is we're going to collaborate with the city to have a spot available where people can gather information, have a quick 5-minute conversation, participate in a quick activity about the corridor, get things started from that perspective. Our virtual open houses, as a result of COVID, of course, we've changed how we engage or the way that people want to engage in a planning process. So the virtual open house will be used to provide information on where we're at in the process, what the recommendations are that we're coming up with, and allow people to meet with us from the comfort of their own homes, whether they're meeting us live in person or if they're able to, they can't make the meeting because they have a kid's soccer game, they can join afterwards as well. So that'll be an opportunity for us to share information and update about where we are in the planning process and gather feedback as we're finalizing the plan as well. And then the intercept survey is a way that won't be active engagement in terms of there being a staff member on the project there, but it's intended to be a physical structure that we're placing along the corridor and allow people to interact and provide comments. So it might be a big board that says, simply, what is your vision for University Avenue, or something of that nature, and allows people to write in their comments and provide feedback as they're walking the corridor or visiting a business or something like that. So I guess that was the detail there on the last three. I don't know, Paul, if there's anything else you wanted me to touch on.
I think that covers. Does anyone in the audience have any questions about any of those methods of public engagement at all? And again, the reason why we're doing so many different types is to hit all different populations at all different times. We understand that the summer season, even once we get into the fall, that's a whole different dynamic, of people and schedules. And so, and again, I think that to reiterate what Steph said, we talked about the community survey. That is going to be a survey that after we get the existing conditions report done, we're going to take a dive in there, and it's going to stay open for a while. We'll work with the committee, we'll work with the city to talk about the exact types of questions, but these are something, they're not meant to be a sit-down for an hour-and-a-half survey. It's just going to be a couple questions, maybe 10 questions about the survey that's going to take 5 to 10 minutes to complete, and then we'll get data back on that, and then we'll be able to do a deeper dive onto those types of questions. If those questions didn't perform as maybe we thought they would, we would still allow ourselves to have some time there and make some adjustments to the questions or ask some follow-up questions in areas where there just needs to be a deeper dive taking place. So, yeah, Mark.
When do you plan to interact with the Good Neighbor Festival and where?
Well, still to be determined, but initially the thought would be we would be setting up a booth or being at the festival itself, manning a booth for 2 or 3 hours on Saturday. 28th, I think it is.
Because there's also a parade that goes along University Avenue on Sunday, and a lot of people set up for that early and camp out. Sitting along the university, as early as 11. They linger afterwards. That might be a time to, not during the parade as the parade's going by, but before the parade to distribute information or reach out to people. And if you have trouble interacting with anyone with the Good Neighbor Festival,
you know somebody?
I do.
No, so
I'm president this year.
Yeah, the nice thing about doing an event like this is, if we just say SRF is going to staff it from 8 to 11, and then the city of Middleton says, well, we want to keep it open longer, we have that option to do a little bit of a handoff and keep the booth going all day if we want to. Or if there's if we say it's going to be the 28th, and it's pouring rain and thunderstorms and there's nobody there, we're not tied to that date. That's, kind of why we said somewhere between that week, the 27th and 29th when the festival is going on that weekend. We'll nail down the details, I think, a little bit closer.
Are you part of the sustainability committee table, or is that not? I'll talk with you afterwards. But,
yeah, I think we're going to co-opt either art, a little corner of theirs, or sustainability. Yeah.
And another, just to follow up too on that, so with the surveys, the intercept survey is another place where, like Steph was talking about this, and imagine at the fire station that you would have a little, built-in structure or some kind of board there where people can, participate, put in a feedback, put in a question. We can change that question, show up, change that question every couple days. And what that does is it generates a little bit more excitement. If I walk down there every day, go, oh, it was yellow yesterday. Why is it red today? I must walk over there. Oh, I see. It's a new question. Cool. I want to participate. But it just keeps people excited and up to date on it. We'll also try to do the best we can through social media to push out lots of updates throughout the process on what we're doing and what's going on. So the project schedule, and we're doing really good on time here, but I think as I kicked this off, it was a 6 to 7 month schedule is what we had originally proposed, and I think there's opportunity here to advance the schedule, but then we run into timing around the Christmas holiday and Wisconsin deer hunting and that whole thing. So, when we first had our pre-kickoff meeting, we talked about, are we tied to making sure that this plan is finished before Christmas? If so, we can make accommodations to get there early in the process. Or we can kind of, obviously the adoption phase, the plan commission members that are here, we want to make sure that we have ample time to, not push a plan through. We want to make sure that it's to your liking, it's to the vision that the city wants, and that we capture all those ideas, not to force the issue. Our schedule has room in there to condense a little bit, but not a lot. 6 to 7 months will go really, really fast. But I just wanted to touch on kind of the overall things here. Again, we broke this up into 5 tasks. We're in the data collection / existing conditions right now, and that's your first bullet. We're spending from today through the month of August to kind of document what we're seeing, what we're hearing, what were the first results of the community survey, and just kind of start putting together a summary of what we think the corridor is. Share that with you all. You can come back and say, yep, you missed a couple, but this looks really close, or we got to redo it, or however the case may be. We then move on into, the other engagement events that go on with it. So what we're really focused on right now between our project manager meetings have been the next 6 weeks. What's going to happen between now, today, the corridor walking tour, and the Good Neighbor Festival, or the end of August, or call it the Labor Day holiday. And I think what we're going to find here is data collection in existing conditions, our kickoff meeting, and our corridor walking tour, which is today. We've developed, like I said, that public participation plan, and we get into 2 phases of the public engagement. Again, number 1 is the community survey, and number 2, once we get some of those surveys back, is let's talk, let's go and interact with the business owners. Let's make sure if they didn't participate as part of the community survey, that we're specifically reaching out to those who are the parcels located along University Ave. We get a whole other set of data, if needed, from that group, and what forces them to be here, or what makes them want to stay here. Retain and attract is what we want to do. So making sure that we hit that group as well. And then we talked about the Good Neighbor Festival on the 29th of August. So that's really what we're focused on over the next 5 or 6 weeks. So I'll start there with the micro schedule. Is there anything else or any other comments from the group? Yeah.
I was just wondering, with your community survey, are you working with the senior center for them to maybe put something in their newsletter? Because seniors are now engaged in social media, and I'd kind of like to see that they get informed about this.
Yeah, Steph, were you able to hear that question?
Yes, and that's great feedback to hear. And we have multiple ways that we can get the survey out, make sure there's something in the newsletter. We can make paper copies of the survey available for those that aren't either don't have access to internet or aren't regular internet users. So definitely that's something we can include in the process.
And on top of that, we can, we have, that's where I was going to go with this too, is we generally drop off paper copies, and we can do translation too if we find a group that we need to convert to Spanish or whatever. That's a capability that we have as well.
Yeah, I was just going to mention for the annual citizen satisfaction survey that the city does, we operate that on SurveyMonkey, but we always drop off hard copies to the senior center. And then we have an intern who goes in and, does the data entry, and we've been able to get quite a few responses, at least from seniors who visit the senior center.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you have ideas, by all means, share those with us. If you have other ways that you think we should be reaching out to, cast a wider net to get all those opinions. We'll have links all over the websites, Facebook and social media, as best as we can. We're counting on you to let your neighbors know, let them know that this is out there, newsletters as we mentioned. We'll put it out on our social media at SRF Consulting too, to make sure we just get as many people aware of it. Can't force them to take a survey, but if we've had pretty good success, with that approach. So, good questions and good comments. So just again, existing conditions and public engagement is kind of where we're at between now and Labor Day. Then we'll get into in the month of September, October. We're kind of in that vision and a pathway to transformation. We establish the vision. We start putting pen to paper and putting the draft plan together. At that point, again, we'll bring the ad hoc committee in there, provide ideas, go a little deeper here, take a little bit out of this, get some good ideas, generate some good thoughts, take another crack at it, go back out, get it in front of the group again, and at that point, we'll be ready to say, yep, this is ready to share with our residents. We feel good about where the plan is at. Have the next virtual open house as an opportunity to do that before, and final tweaks from there before going on and presenting to the planning commission and the county council. So again, just to kind of wrap up here, the next steps, we thought maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours to be out on the corridor. It is 1.5 miles long. Our plan is to leave from here, walk through this, and Daphne, are we thinking you want to do this in 2 groups?
Yeah, it looks like, there's a great turnout today, so yeah. I think we could do 2 groups, maybe one on the north side of the corridor, one on the south side, and we'll meet at the end and then maybe switch sides or go back.
Perfect, yeah. So, as we go, I brought clipboards with, and what we're looking from you is to fill out this document right here, okay? Before we leave, we'll take a couple minutes to use the restrooms, fill up water bottles, and just give yourself a little time to give your initial thoughts of the corridor before you actually see it, and what modes of transportation you're currently comfortable using. And then as we go through, we'll kind of do a walking tour. We'll let you know where we are. As we walk, you're looking at this part of the map at this parcel. We generated some symbols on the legend there to kind of just save you from having to write all over the place. Hey, if I want to see a crosswalk right here, there's a symbol for that. We can put it right here. You don't have to spell it out that we need a crosswalk right here. But all is fair game. You can use the back of the sheet for additional just fill-in comments. You can write comments right in on the map with arrows pointing to what you want to do. Generally speaking, we want to collect these from you today, but if you are needing to take it home and say, hey, I just need a day or 2 with it, I've provided my business card over there that you can get. I can arrange a time to either grab it from you or you can email me a scan of it, and we should be all good to go. But again, this will be our primary document. That, along with your existing documents that you have out there, for the existing conditions report, we'll put a summary together of what we talked about and what we heard out on the corridor in the visit today, and then use that as our first step in existing conditions. And then at the end, if you don't mind, when you come back, give yourself a minute just to say, was it the same, or was it completely or drastically different than what I expected now that I've actually got to. I'm only looking at my one business on there, the neighbors on 1 or 2 sides, but I didn't know that if I went 10 parcels over, it was this. Sometimes we tend to put in focus in our areas that we want to. That's great. Next steps, as we talked about, I'll have that documenting existing conditions done in a couple weeks, 2 weeks from today. We'll have that memo put together of what we heard. Distribute that to the group as well for initial feedback. Again, make sure that we have everything accounted for on there. Our community survey will be developed at that point. We will work with the city for the questions and how they're worded. Again, we'll take our first shot at keeping the survey short. So we get feedback, and we'll let people know as they're on there, you're 8% done, you're 16% done, you're 26% done. Only 11 questions, you're on 3 of 11, you know, just to make sure that they start the first one and they don't get overwhelmed and shut it down right away. Had pretty good success in the past of doing something like that, like I mentioned before. That will stay open again for 5-6 weeks through the Labor Day period. We want to, obviously, if we're going to be alerting people at the Good Neighbor Fest that this is available, we don't want to close it that night. We want to make sure that they have ample time to respond and see the survey. So 6 weeks on that, and then, like I said, another activity that we're doing here as in this part of Labor, up till Labor Day, is the first round of initial business focus groups and interviews. Yes?
So what types of things can you change, okay? You aren't gonna change the roadway, that's gonna stay. You're not gonna change the private businesses, because what they are is what they are, okay? So what can you change exactly? I mean, what are we looking for change-wise, or what are you capable of changing?
So this document, as Paul said, is a visioning document, so,
Right.
you know, once it's adopted, you know, it's not, the city can't change anything,
Right.
right?
That's
Yeah.
where,
Right.
that's where I'm going.
Yeah, but, you know, as, you know, because there have been some businesses that have been changing a lot, and so, like, some of the owners have been selling, and they want to develop it into something else, so as those, you know, come up, they'll be following this document.
The new guideline that you're gonna have.
Right,
All
yeah,
right.
so it's more, yeah, like a guideline for what the corridor will look like, you know, and it's going like 20, 30 years down the line, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then, you know, maybe by then, the streets will, like, need to be reconstructed again, and then, you know, we do have another guideline for, you know, what can this look like.
Street was just done recently.
Right,
So
yeah.
it's all good, okay?
Right, but, you know,
Street has
eventually maybe.
been a lot of difference. It was first done in 1986, and it was changed from, we didn't have sidewalks or curb and gutter, we didn't have any of that. And watching that change too, it's amazing how many people walk down that avenue. I mean, I was really surprised. I got walkers all day long, so we'll bring all of that up later. But I was just wondering, what are we gonna change?
Right,
Because
yeah.
you only have power to change so much, and that's not much.
And I think it all starts too with everything is fair game right now.
Mhm.
Put all ideas on the table, and we can say, yeah, we're not gonna be able to expand the roadway another lane in each direction. It's a principal arterial, it's meant to carry cars and, you know, freight traffic and everything down through there. But are there accommodations that we can make, refuge places for passengers and bicyclists to feel better? Is there areas where we can, you know, meander a sidewalk a little bit to get areas away where there's enough terrace width in there? Is there, you know, like I said, is the parking working? Is our shift going towards making this, like, it's our grandiose vision to just make this a corridor that is, you know, walkable and bikeable. You know, if that's the case, we want to hear that. And let's start.
Is there an example out there that you know of, that you got a vision of?
Oh, like that we want.
Like something that's almost like that, but in a different location?
A similar plan,
A
you mean?
similar plan?
Well, Daphne just shared with the rest of our staff, I think yesterday or the day before, the new Odana plan that the city of Madison just rolled out. It is really worth taking a look at. It's extremely detailed. So Odana Road is actually not that dissimilar from University in that it was developed as an automobile thoroughfare. And it was meant to carry cars, and the land uses that developed around it are pretty automobile oriented. The city of Madison has a vision, and they are looking at pretty extensive changes to it, including creating new road grid connections through existing properties to shorten the length of the block between properties, changing the streetscaping, the landscaping. They expect the land uses to change over time, because right now that thoroughfare is mostly retail. And with the changing landscape of retail and the interest in more like service-oriented retail businesses, having mixed-use development like housing closer to businesses, having more jobs on the corridor. I mean, they've really, the plan is like I think it's an 80-page document, and they have really gone through that whole corridor with a fine-tooth comb. They've looked at the urban tree canopy cover, and then they've compared that to like the rest of the city of Madison and have identified areas where they really need to add tree canopy. They're looking at things like adding more renewable energy stations. I mean, it's very big picture. So
it's like Whitney Way to Gammon type of thing is what you're talking?
And beyond Gammon.
Beyond Gammon, yeah, it
Into
includes the Westtown Mall.
Through the mall.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool, all right. Thank
So
you.
maybe we can share a link to that.
Yeah.
I don't think that they've adopted their plan yet, but they are
No, it's
planning.
gonna take 40, 50 years.
Yeah, yeah, probably.
Good job.
So we can share it, just so you can get an idea of, what the possibilities are.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
I think it's really important to know, even when you have a plan that you kind of use as a model, there's different, like, you might walk in today and say, okay, all of the comments came on the eastern side of the corridor, or just the western side. And those can lead to further studies as well, like further, okay, here's the issue of concern right here, let's take another deeper dive into that in a year or two. As Daphne was saying, this isn't meant to be just the document that comes in and sweeps up everything, although it could be. There's the idea that it's going to be done over a series of time, and a life event changes and could jump in at any minute that makes us deviate just a little bit. So these plans are made to be flexible as well. Yep.
Sure. Thank you.
And just the other piece, always with the residents and the business owners and whoever, the public, this is not something that SRF Consulting is going to write. We're just helping facilitate to write what we heard. I think that's a really important process to document and make this a successful plan throughout.
Can you send us a copy of this online that can be completed online?
Absolutely, sure, yeah, happy to do
Because
it.
we did receive it, but it's not one that you could.
Fill out online?
Oh, yeah, I just sent like the PDF
Right.
version. Is there a way that you can make it like a fillable
Yeah,
PDF?
we can work with staff to get those in a couple different formats for you that.
I think that would be able to provide a little bit more extensive comments than.
And it's even something that we could distribute to the public as well, as part of a document. It doesn't mean just because you guys get first crack at it today, that someone else couldn't fill this out as well. We just wanted to keep this, with this group right now, we'll keep this set of documents together, but we could always open it up to others to kind of do a similar, same exercise. Steph, is there anything else, either from like example plans or public engagement or anything else that I may have missed throughout that you want to share with the group?
I don't think so.
Okay. So I guess that's kind of, we've used almost our full hour here. I think the intention again is we have clipboards. Did you want to make an announcement about that?
Yeah,
Like that?
so I believe at least all the city staff, we have to wear the great
Green vest.
neon yellow safety vest while we do the walk, and then,
Do
if
we have
you
to hold
guys.
hands and stuff too?
No, so there's more change.
Just walking
Just more across it? Okay.
Yeah, at least the city staff have to wear it, and then, if you guys, would like to, I think it's highly encouraged for you guys to wear the vest as well.
We have
while you're
flags to
walking.
use.
Did you have some extra vests?
Yes,
to share?
they're in my office.
Your shirt out again.
Already on fire.
Yeah.
And as we go out there, as Daphne was talking about, there's going to be two groups. And, you'll have the sheets to provide individual comments on, but I will be, in my group, I'll be carrying a pad of paper too, and I'm just going to listen to what you say, what comments are being made. Everything is fair game out there, all right? So please feel free, just because you don't think something may apply, I mean, you never know. Let's say it, I'll try to.
Why do you want two groups?
Just so it's not like a big parade of people.
Well, wouldn't it get a lot more exposure and ask a lot more questions from the public?
That's
You know what I
true.
mean? I mean, it would be like, hey, school kids, what's going on? What's going on? I mean, I just, And then if there's any questions or any comments, we all get to hear everybody's versus two groups,
Yeah,
where you're only gonna get half the feedback.
yeah.
I'm totally okay with that.
Yeah, I'm also great. You wanna?
Want to
yeah.
do, all right?
You can do one big group, yeah.
Makes more sense to me.
Good comment. Write that one down. Thanks, Jeff. All right, Steph, thanks for participating online, and everybody else, if you can go on the corridor too and stick around, we'd love to have you be a part of it. If not, feel free to take this with you and send it back. I did leave my business card on the corner there, but hopefully you can join us here for the tour. Thank you. Thank you. We'll leave here in about, what, 5-10 minutes?
Good presentation.
Do you have any recommendations?
Thanks, Steph.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, Brad was like, we don't have small ones.
Okay.